Installing a Kubernetes cluster is not an easy task, and of course, it's even more difficult to install that if you don't have internet access. How can we install a Kubernetes cluster if we don't have internet access? Let's check it. The problem with zero trust network access or air gap environments is that we don't have access to the public cloud. We don't have access to the internet to get some RPMs or container images. Then we need to use a PC online with a VPN connection to those environments that allow us to connect to the internet and then get all the required files that we need to install our Kubernetes cluster. Then once we have downloaded all the packages, we can just zip this and then pull those files into the environment where we are going to install the cluster. Boom, then we have our cluster up and running, and all that without internet access. So we are going to install this Kubernetes cluster with one master node and two worker nodes, and these nodes are going to be connected, of course, through the Kubernetes cluster network. Some basic concepts just to have a general idea. In this cluster, we are going to have our pods running, each of these pods with the containers inside. It will depend on the use case, how many containers you have in a pod. Normally, you may have one pod per container or one container per pod. And it's normal as well to see that some pods have more than one container. It will depend on the use case and the application that you are installing in the cluster. Of course, all the processes that are running in the VM, the kubelet, which is in charge of running these pods, and we are going to need a container runtime engine. We have different options, but we are going to use the Docker in this case. Remember, we don't have access to the internet, so how can we just install the cluster without having the access? For that, we will install the Docker, private Docker registry in our cluster. That private Docker registry will allow us to deploy or install all the pods, all the containers, and those containers are going to be instantiated by the cluster. Let's check how to do that.